Hello, welcome to your reading. Thank you so much for your patience, my friend. It's been a crazy time, but it is less than 2 months, so at least I can do that. But yeah, things have been nuts. I was gonna do it yesterday, but then I lost my voice. So you can probably still tell a little bit. It's way better now. I was afraid to do like any kind of like session or reading yesterday just because you speak for a long period of time, the voice gets worse, and it was getting progressively worse. So I gotta go to sleep, and I've really waited. It's 4:40. I mean, I typically, as you probably know, work pretty late, but this is even late for me, for my standards, for like doing my first reading. I mean, usually I'm not gonna only do one, but let me get my clock on, my timer. And also, I've had kind of I'll say a bad day. I've done, just one of them days, where I do everything good, good sleep, good workout, everything that you'd want, but still was in a very odd mood. But now I think I've moved out of it. I wouldn't do the reading if I had not. So let me just check one thing really quickly. Okay. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and pull the chart. I mean, the chart's already pulled. Of course, you have to hide the last name to keep the confidentiality. Fernando. So we already looked at everything. Well, I want to check one other thing because okay, that's right. Let's load this too. So yeah, fellow Pisces brother. So you have yours in the 8th house like me, and your Leo rising like me. Damn. And you have Pluto on your IC like me. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 things in common. And your Venus is exactly the same degree, not just sign. Degree is my Venus. So yeah, definitely a chart that I can resonate with from personal experience, just right off the bat. Okay, perfect. So yeah, let me go ahead and share the screen. Just by the way, I typically go back and forth between showing my face and the screen. I just kind of like being able to kind of sit back, and I found that meditating while I'm doing readings can be very, very advantageous. Or just kind of closing my eyes, just having my crystals, which are fetch right now. So yeah. Anyways, very interesting chart. As I said, super similar in lots of ways, but then also very different in others. So you have your sun in the 8th house in Pisces, and your moon, the 2nd house in Virgo. So the axis of Pisces and Virgo is activated. Very interesting stuff. So really quickly, when you think about that, you were born probably, let me think, it was like, probably 2 days or so before a full moon, a little less than that. But as you know, like during full moon periods, or I'm sure you've noticed, well, some people they don't notice it, but there's a certain mounting of energy, right? And that definitely can be felt in people that have sun opposite moon. Now with this one, right? It is a very karmic position, I'll explain, what it means in a moment. But basically, people who have this, they tend to be very, very helpful, generous, but they have issues with boundaries. So there's this huge karmic, with the North Node in Aries, right? This huge karmic push towards creating firmer boundaries for yourself that probably was a little bit difficult when you're growing up. You're, potentially, you know, Pisces are kind of like the chameleons. They're kind of like the chameleons, so they tend to just kind of fit in. And when they're young, sometimes they'll do different things kind of against their morals, I guess you could say, against their higher self, whatever you want to call it, because they may be out of touch with that part of them. So, yeah, aside from that, so, typically, Virgo moon's very, logical, analytical, but then there's also this like, Piscean, very spiritual view of life, right? So it's about balancing like that practicality, um, and that boundlessness and that high spirituality and that compassion and all of this that is Pisces. Um, Also, with this, Virgo moons can be, prone to anxiety and confusion and stuff like that. Confusion would be more like Pisces. So there can be like, someone it can be someone who's like distracted easily, an overthinker for sure. I would imagine. I mean, we'll have to see the aspects. Um, and when you have a Virgo moon, it can make it very hard to be spontaneous, right? Which Pisces they do like. It's immutable. They're both mutable, um, but Pisces is an energy that does like to go with the flow in life. They kind of have this idea that things are just gonna work out, right? So yeah, I guess you could say that the Virgo moon, which is your emotions, means your emotions, the undercurrent, kind of what runs the show, the unconscious level. Like, it really speaks about like what you need to be happy, right? Which in Virgo, a lot to do that with, order in your life, cleanliness, organization. When you can be of service. Of course, Moon, the second house, is someone who might have a very big emotional need for having their finances in order and making money and stuff like that, but they might experience as part of the kind of the karma, this real up and down energy when it comes to that. So it's very important as a second house moon to kind of learn, because eighth house suns, they can rely on powerful alliances to get them places and whatnot, and other people's resources, whether it's like coming from a family with money or marrying rich, whatever it might be, even like working in jobs. Like, I spoke to an eighth house the other day, client who was like an investment banker. So that was a good example of that. But yeah, it's important for you to like develop your own sense of security, where because like with the moon in that second house, it will make the finances fluctuate, so that there will be like this up and down flow. So it is very important to also not be a workaholic, because moon in the second house in Virgo can create a perfectionist who has, such high standards for themselves, that when they don't get to their unachievable goals, because they're just like the goals are just unreal. I mean, not unachievable, but just like, let's say like I have to be a superstar, I'm a failure, right? So it's really important to just try to stay present and not let money and all that stuff be the end all be all. And once that happens, the relationship with money becomes a lot more healthy, and that obviously is very good. So with the other position, the sun in eighth house, um people who have that more than anyone else, right? They tend to go through eras in their life, you can call it, where it's like almost unnoticeable who they were in previous eras. Like you look, you can like. And I know that everyone grows, everyone goes through different eras, but like the eighth house person, it's all about death, rebirth, transformation, right? So in Pisces, that adds even more. Like trust me, I know. So they're and it's at 22 degrees, which can be a very, 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 um, you know, difficult degree. There can just be like lots of added like restrictions and stress and it really makes someone have to a lot of times put up with a lot of drama when they're young and yeah, it's difficult, right? So also with the square Saturn and Uranus to your sun, there can definitely be issues with the father. Perhaps like, a father who's very strict, authoritarian. Um, but then also, with the Uranus square, what that can create, just from a psychological level, is someone who's very, very rebellious, like someone who may be wanting to really rebel against their father or just their like their overall upbringing. So, um, a lot of times people who have that position, and then the midheaven is in Taurus with Mars. They have like a very special um, kind of calling in life that's very, very unique. So sometimes it takes them a little bit of time to really figure out exactly what there is, and there's lots of trial and error that goes with that. And as you see here, with the eighth house, obviously, like going into your own darkness, going into your own shadow. I made a video about this today about the zodiacal story and how going through all 12 signs, like regardless of what signs you have, and just understanding like the story that's telling is just so you should watch that video. It can put a lot in context. But the eighth house, right? So I went from first to 12th house, kind of explaining the story. And the eighth house is really that part of the story where you've had relationships, and there's a there's a large intensity in these relationships. So it's a very relationship oriented house, very sexual house. It's very, very connected to the occult, the esoteric, anything hidden, because it's very, very much about shadow work. So it creates someone who's meant to really go into their own shadow, which is shown by your Pluto and the IC. Which, let's see if it's also square the nodes. No, but you have Neptune square the nodes. That speaks to childhood trauma. I mean, that's just what it is. It is 10 degrees away, so it's not like an exact conjunction between IC, which rules childhood, and Pluto, which rules darkness and trauma in this kind of way of looking at it. But definitely difficulties. And we see with the moon opposite Mercury, so not too much bad going on with the moon. I mean, I guess moon opposite Mercury can kind of make it difficult to really get your emotions across through words. So now it is an elemental one, but it is 3-degree orb. So yeah, there can definitely be like a big a lot of difficulty in because there can be arguments and different disputes that come up with different types of people. And since it's in the seventh house, a lot of times that's in relationships. Now, so yeah, definitely a unique individual, probably deeply spiritual, someone who probably had a very difficult upbringing and had to really toughen up and learn lots of lessons, lots of karmic lessons. And there's a lot of a big need for surrender here, right? I'll go back to my face for a little bit. So there's a big need for surrender, because that's what the eighth house is about. It forces, like in the zodiacal story, as I was saying, it forces us into that position where we've had like the experience of being mirrored by other, and we're facing our own shadow that, we didn't see before. So it's very, very karmic to have, this eighth house Pisces sun, like myself. And yeah, but also can make you a master in the art, especially with Leo rising, right? Because Leo rising, it makes your it's very special to be Leo rising because it makes your ruling planet the sun, right? It's the only rising sign where your ruling planet is the sun. So it makes that area, the eighth house, an area where you can really, really shine. And you can see I'm a perfect example, like eighth house, is very related to what I do with astrology, psychology, just diving into people's psyche, helping people spiritually. And yeah, so it would indicate that something related to that would be very, very an area where you really, really want to shine, because that's the thing with Leo risings, is that there is that desire to make something of yourself creatively. Now this can be a little bit difficult though, because you have Saturn, the planet that kind of holds creative energies back in the house of creativity. So I think you got a follow up. I just I have to. I'm pretty sure you did, but we definitely need to talk about kind of, and you'll have to remind me of these things. I'll forget them. But about like the inner child, right? About the inner child and your ability or inability to truly connect with your own inner child. Try to find my AC. Getting kind of hot already. Jeez. Um, and also to connect with your own creativity, because what I could see is a scenario where, for example, you have this ability to be very gregarious, very good leader, very funny, very maybe a little bit dramatic, but very, very, very sensitive, right? Very, very, very sensitive. And it's important for people with charts like yours to be in touch with their feminine sides. And a lot of times when I see charts like this, I always imagine, like, how was that when you were growing up, right? Like, because with the opposition, right? Sun moon opposition, the two most important parts, the masculine and the feminine, many times, like, especially in this age of toxic masculinity. I know you're from Brazil. I imagine it's not any different. They'll choose the more masculine sign, which, these are both feminine, but Virgo is definitely more masculine than Pisces, right? Pisces. So there can definitely be like or could have been like a kind of ignoring of the Pisces part of you, that sensitive part, that compassionate part, and maybe more just going towards the Virgo moon, which is also represented the instincts. So yeah. But then, we connect everything to, the high karmic purpose. Or I skipped over something. Yeah, so I was gonna talk, about Saturn. So Saturn, as I was saying before, like, right, like Saturn, like in the fifth house, it's like kind of like, and Uranus is there too, so that kind of pushes some of the difficulty away, right? Because, on one hand you have Saturn, which is like the restrictor, the karmic teacher, and it'll make it so, like, when you turn 30, 29 and a half, 30, your Saturn return, or maybe after that, like a 31 or something like that, you really start to feel like more open in terms of your like really being able to access that inner child and authentic self-expression. Oftentimes the Saturn fifth house person doesn't have kids until after Saturn return. And yeah, it can just make it so, like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like, for me, I'm very good at rapping. Like, I have talent. Like, I like natural talent. Like, I could literally, if I actually tried, I could actually do something. But I gave up. I mean, I never really gave myself a shot. But, like, I'm doing this now, and I'm happy doing this. And I just believe that, if it was, I'll go back to the chart. Like, go get a kombucha too. I'm just very, like, and belief system that if it was meant to happen, it would have happened, right? I would have met the right people. I would have had parents that were more engaged in that. So, but like, one thing that's very interesting is that, and I also have, like, in Placidus, right? Like, which is a different house system, but still, it definitely does resonate. I had the same thing as you, Saturn in the fifth house. um, in the house system that I'm using now, and it's in the sixth house, but regardless, we can still learn from this, is that whenever, let's say I would be like at a party or something, and unfortunately I was only really like my skills would just come when I had alcohol in my system. It was like, here they come, your skills come back, and then sober, just whatever, make what you want out of that. But it was just the truth. I'm very honest about that. But what happens here, right, is that there can be some type of energy similar to that, right? Where it's like you're able to be creative, but then you feel like there's like this like I always thought of like I can't really like explain the metaphor, but it's from Star Wars. It's like this big like this like hut door that kind of, just like this like massive, not like garage door, but just this big door that kind of clamps up whenever you're in a creative mode, right? Or like whenever or whenever you're around, because you're Pisces, you're so sensitive to like the energies of other people's thoughts. So for me, whenever I'd be like, let's say I'm at a party, whatever, blah blah blah. I'm killing it because I'm just doing an amazing job. Like people are like, holy shit, like I had no idea you were so good at rapping. And then like all it would take would be for me to be around one person whose energy was just like I could sense, like before I even knew that I had these senses, I could sense that they kind of didn't mess with it, or like there was something like that made me feel on an unconscious level uncomfortable, which then led me to just completely shut down. It was like almost like the skills just like went away. And then I would get all that stuff, which I'm sure you've heard so many times. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. Like whatever. No, for Pisces, we are empaths. We are, sponges of energy. We really, really feel more than other. I mean, I guess you could say other water signs, Scorpio, Cancer, and Virgo is very, very empathetic too, right? So it's the opposite sign. Opposite signs are the same energy, but just different opposite manifestations. So yeah, I imagine that there's some difficulty in the original upbringing, and that you really have to kind of find your own, and your partner. Obviously, I know I'm not gonna mention her name. I'm just very big on the whole confidentiality thing, but obviously she is someone who's also very empathetic, very spiritual. And I think that's like the best kind of partner for you. And we'll get more into like love stuff, right? Because you do have your Venus in Aquarius, like myself. So isn't it beautiful when I have clients where it's like I can literally just like not only tell you like my other like my like what I know about it, and just like my general knowledge, but also like my own personal experience, mixed with like the experience of countless clients who have this as well. But yeah, so that's the thing with creativity. But then Uranus there, right? Because Uranus is over here. That can actually kind of open it up a little bit, kind of push back some of it can kind of make you very, very ingenious and eccentric in whatever your chosen mode of creativity is, right? So that's I don't want to say they offset. I would probably say that like they operate in different realms. Um, but yeah, maybe, like I would say the Uranus probably gives you that extra creativity, but then the Saturn, it just kind of shuts it down. It can make us think like in the fifth house, like we're not worthy. It can really like make us like feel like like we can't really be. And your Saturn is exactly conjunct my moon, so maybe that literally could signify. I mean, you have some level of karma together, especially with our charts being so similar. So I'm 100% positive that there's a reason that I'm doing this reading for you. I mean, this is quite common. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like every single client is, no, but like at this point, I'm like, if this was like my first year of astrology, I'd be like, oh my fucking god, it's so crazy. But like, I've just like experienced things like this so many times where it's just like nothing really surprises me anymore. But it is very, very interesting. Um, but yeah, so back kind of like in I zigzag kind of back and forth. Your Mercury, okay, yeah, so yeah. So there definitely is this big urge in your chart to be like that. Like there's this big this major creative purpose, right, for the person with Leo rising. Like they really are meant to take a creative risk on themselves. So the Saturn return represents a time when they finally, hopefully do that. Doesn't mean that you have to wait until, or that you had to wait until that age to do that. No. Remember, right? I didn't say this already, but just know, astrology is not fated, right? Astrology is an interplay of free will and what's shown in your chart. The chart represents, the the karmic hand you're dealt, and but what you do with it is your decision. So clearly, you had like a pretty rough hand, at least early, but a lot of times it's those exact people who end up being, they have it for a reason. Like it's the old souls, right? It's the people that that they're old souls, and they sign up for kind of more difficult earthly assignments, if you will, right? And the goal is simple. It's to go through, every healer goes through a certain level of pain and suffering, which deepens their soul, which makes them more resilient, and which adds empathy to them, and which makes them, want, like, once they go through their own healing, it makes them want to, do, like, help other people out in that respect. So maybe that's something that you would do for a living. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so let's see. Yeah, Uranus fifth house can definitely give like a very eccentric, like hobbies, creative pursuits. Unusual, not eccentric in the bad way. Just like, for example, like for me, I guess, yeah, I mean, yeah, because my ascendant is 28, Leo years is 4, so this would actually be in the fifth house in Placidus also. Yeah. So yeah, it would definitely give like, yeah, kind of eccentric, like, you might have like, you might really like love technology. You might really like to create through technology, like something like web designing, or like editing, or like anything related to that could be, very interesting and very fun for you. Now, one cool thing about this fifth house, it's ruled by Sag, which is Jupiter, which is, conjunct your North Node, is that it's very connected to your destiny. And your North Node, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which is in Aries. And man, the amount of North Node Aries people I get is insane. North Node in Leo, North Node in Aries, like just North Node in fire, because I am fire. So I get clients a lot who are, really needing that. So that will add like, luck, expansion to your creative pursuits, and yeah, lots of luck with like let's say you're a musician or something like that. You have luck in terms of the people you met, and it would be really pushing you towards your higher purpose. Also, there can be like some kind of like foreign link. Like you might be someone who is like really attracted to foreign, like, forms of art from different countries and stuff. So yeah. With that aside, what else can I say about the moon in Virgo? Well, moon in Virgo people, yeah, they have to watch out for perfectionism. It is absolutely impossible to be perfect. You just have to be who you are. I know it sounds cheesy as Gouda or cheddar, but it's just about learning self-compassion, learning to treat yourself as you would treat a best friend. That's a big lesson, right? And sip this real quick. So then, yeah, going back to kind of the Leo rising stuff. So there's definitely there's a real desire for you to move forward in this life in a creative way. Because in past lives with your South Node down here in Libra in the third house, there's definitely this kind of like narrow-mindedness, or just like, cycles where, you weren't getting deep enough, um, while also acquiescing. Like, think of the couple who, they don't really deepen themselves spiritually. They kind of just are together, and there's not really any, like, I don't want to, like, real deep purpose to what they're doing. They're just kind of like, whatever, why not? What else should I be doing? So, but what happens, right, when you have this, is that there can be a past life tendency to be too Gemini and too Libra. So what does that mean? Well, Libra means lacking boundaries, and like, it can mean being too codependent when it comes to relationships, and relying too much on relationships, romantic relationships, usually, which then takes away from you finding your authentic self, which is, or you becoming very independent, because you have, and then with third house, that is, it's a little bit more like, kind of, like it's like, think of like the Gemini Sag axis, right? Like third and ninth house, Gemini Sag are opposite signs. So every opposite sign is teaching us something. So when they're highlighted, they're really telling us a lot. And in this case, like, Gemini can represent, having like many different interests, passions, hobbies. Then there can be this kind of like this nervousness, this switch, like this inability, grass is greener, like super curiosity, but curiosity to the point where it's like, maybe a little bit too far, right? Like maybe curiosity to the point where it's um, like you're not connecting the big picture enough, right? So there can be, like, trouble focusing, losing interest fast, with like starting lots of different passions, and then losing interest fast. So, yeah, it's it is kind of like a energy of just being held back, because you weren't willing to take all these, like, let's say life, if you think of life through the lens of like data, right? Like, the Gemini person, they have so many different experience this, that, this, that. But what Sagittarius does, as the opposite sign, working together, which is the goal, is that it takes the data and it organizes it in a way that then, and this is your North Node, right? So this North Node is like the metaphoric mountain never climbed in past lives, right? So let's go back to the face. So it puts you in a position where you're really, really trying to, um, become more assertive, become more like action oriented, more yourself, like more like not giving in to and this will go to your Venus and love energy, but like, to what, like, the relationships you need to be in are ones that allow you to experience independence and allow you to continue to grow, and to get to know yourself, and to be able to have some fun, to be like in that inner child, right? To not to let that Leo rising shine. Um, Second. And yeah, I mean, just really quickly, I mean, and I'm not gonna like, if you and your girlfriend ever want to get a composite or compatibility reading done, let me know. I just want to like pure, like, gently at her chart. But yeah, she also, so you guys kind of have similar, like your Leo energy, right? Um, is helping her a lot, right? Because she has her Chiron in Leo, and you guys have the same moon sign, which is just beautiful. Like, that's like one of the best things for couples. It's kombucha, by the way. I don't drink alcohol. besides on very, very, very rare occasions. Very, very rare. Rare and rare each year. It's crazy. Um, and yeah, she, has that Gemini rising, so that's gonna work really well with your Leo rising. She's a Cancer, you're a Pisces. I mean, everything adds up like fucking beautifully. I'd have to look at the composite chart. I mean, if you're interested, I'd give you guys a really, really good deal for that reading. It's my most labor-intensive reading, but man, do I love doing it. Man, do I love doing it. But yeah, so there's definitely energy here, for her where you guys are learning similar lessons, and you're helping her. You guys are helping each other like stay comforted, and like you guys both have difficult planets on your ICs, her Chiron, you Pluto. So I feel like you guys have like a very healing relationship where you guys like get each other, and like maybe it's like the first person in, maybe it's not, but maybe it's like one of the first people who you really truly feel like gets you and like really values you for all your specialness, right? Because Pisces is special, let's not run from that, right? It is special. It's the last sign, and super creative, super like like willing to like just do so much for other people just for the sake of doing it. But yeah, I definitely see like restrictions, and I think you're probably really coming into a time of your life right now. Of course, I'd have to do the current astrology report, which by the way, I might as well drop that spiel right now. Mandy's probably told you. I think she got one. I'm pretty sure. Basically, like you got the reading and the follow up. I highly advise all my clients to add the current astrology to the follow up, because basically this is the book of your life, right? This never changes. You can, if you want, get this done by other astrologers who have different ways of looking at it. I love seeing different perspectives of my birth chart every year. But the current astrology, it's kind of speaking about how all the current factors, right? I use tons of different tools of predictive astrology, although I don't really like the word predictive astrology, predictive, because I'm not making predictions. I'm just kind of, it's almost like a weather report, right? An energetic weather report, like to help you understand like what's coming, and put you in the best position to succeed in this current period. Now, this is timeless. This is like, the whole life. But anyways, let me know about that, and I give a very good price for that. And that reading, the follow-up usually takes an hour, and then that one ends up taking like an hour and a half to two. It's lots of stuff. And I record it, and then I send it to you privately, or I upload it privately so no one else can see it, because obviously your face is in it, and I don't want that. I'm like a very private person myself, believe it or not, and I take extra pride in like the whole confidentiality thing. Like I literally won't even let my girlfriend like have like friends over, like if I'm doing readings, just even if there's no way that they'll hear it, just because like I just take this stuff seriously. I feel like God's watching. And if he wasn't, like I still take it seriously. Not that, yeah. So, anyways, where'd that aspect will go? So with the relationship thing, you have Venus here, or I'm not presenting anymore. Let's go back to that. Venus in Aquarius, as I said, is all about like a deep need for freedom in relationships. So, that could be one area where you guys clash. I don't want to get into this industry, but I would say it's good. Like you don't want to have like a synastry chart or a composite chart where everything's perfect. Like that's more for friendships. Like relationships are meant to challenge you, right? There's meant to be like a good balance of tense and supporting and more smooth you know placements or inner aspects, and uh you know aspects of the composite chart, combined chart, the energetic baby I wrote about today in my post. You should check it out, although it probably won't make, I don't know how much sense it make to you, but I explain kind of what it is and stuff. So yeah, your Venus in seventh house, beautiful placement. I mean, we both have it here. Oh, I guess, yeah, we both have it here. in the same sign. So basically, you're really, really attracted to freedom and to someone who like you need to have like an intellectual connection with the partner. And if you don't, it's difficult. Um, it's very difficult for you to stay with someone where that intellectual connection doesn't exist because like Venus and Aquarius, they really, really value their own individuality. As I said before, your Sun square Uranus will make you, sometimes it can make someone the rebel without the cause, the person who is just like they are trying to be their own person. They're not trying to fit any mold. um and with the Aquarius Venus, you're also trying to meet someone who's also like that. And also the healing aspect is huge. And yeah, so like I have Venus in Aquarius, so obviously I can talk about it. Like I don't like I don't enjoy sleeping with other people. I don't like whatever. Like not every Venus Aquarius is like that. I just really, really have trouble. I just really like having my own space. Your Pisces Sun, eighth house. Um, you know, eighth house. So you're gonna be someone who needs alone time to really process your own. Like you're someone who most likely recharges through your time alone. And when I say alone, like there's two different kinds of alone. There's like if you like live with your girlfriend, for example, there's like the alone of like literally being in your apartment slash home alone for a period of time, um, or just being like in a different room, because I believe like that you know it depends. Different people are different, and people are different composites, but you will like times of seclusion, and especially like where you're not judged for it, right? Like because naturally, you'll enjoy relationships where the partner really has their own shit going on, you have your shit going on, and you guys kind of have these also shared values, shared humanitarian values of wanting to help people, and yeah, basically just being a better person and doing things for the collective. It's a nice question. So yeah, like it's it's very important to like Venus and Aquarius people, that they're kind of people who like date someone like huge age difference, or like like someone who like their parents absolutely like reject, um or someone from like completely different social class or cultural background or anything. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is that person and how individualistic they are, how independent they are, how like you like cleanness. Even though you are Pisces, like that's not going to work for you, right? You're going to want to be someone who and your Juno, which represents like your ideal marriage partner, like for a higher commitment, is also there. So yeah, really like wanting someone to um who exhibits these same qualities, right? And what else can I say about Venus and Aquarius? Any aspects, square Mars and square Pluto. Oh, you have the same square as me. Crazy. So this is extremely synchronistic because like I would usually think, okay, this person is probably born like you know a few days before me, or um well, yeah, but really you were born 3 years before me. So the fact we both have this aspect is pretty wild. Um, so what that can do, so with the Venus Aquarius, as I said, like you don't give a shit when it comes like like all the stuff that some people worry about when they're dating. Like you also really like to have someone who's very open minded to your ideas. Um, someone you can teach, but also even someone you can learn from. You're really attracted to intellect and to someone who thinks for themselves and is open minded and who cares about the world, the planet, and also someone who can help you in your own mission of finding that independence. Now, in the seventh house, though, that's the best place you can have Venus. And the reason for that is because it allows you to really see the beauty and to aim for like very harmonious relationships. It's kind of like Libra vibes. Um, and it really gives you this ability to like see the beauty and the good parts of your partner, and it makes you like a relationship oriented person. It's just that the relationship has to have a certain energy, a certain energy. Now, with the square to Pluto, super important. That is a difficult one. I'm sure you maybe like struggle with it earlier and it got easier. And trust me, fuck me, did I struggle with this one? Goddamn. But basically, um, it essentially it makes you just like love really, really hard. And until you learn to like learn self-love, which can be very difficult. Another thing about Pisces is that they can have low self-esteem, especially when young. And Virgo moon can kind of add to that with the full moon. There's a high chance your parents are divorced. I mentioned that earlier. And that the message you get from like dad and mom are very at odds with each other, like the general like life view. And sorry, my voice is starting to sound like this. Ugh. My eyes are like feeling weird. That's why I'm closing them. I probably will just like literally, unless I feel better a little bit, just sit meditate. Just open my eyes very rarely, and I just don't. I feel like it looks weird on camera. But yeah. So Venus square Pluto. So until self love is learned, they'll date people that are kind of like bad for them, like very dark people. Um, and there can be fucked up things like stalking or like it makes relationships like this big power struggle, right? And it's only when you find the right partner that kind of starts to fade, right? um and once that's done, it's not that the energy doesn't exist anymore. It's just that my voice, come on. It's just that okay. Yeah. So it's just just lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's just that I'll backtrack because I lost my train of thought. But yeah, with the aspect basically like um there's all like the power struggle, jealousy, like I said, it can go as far as like stalking and manipulating and just doing whatever because there's this deep fear of I'm not good enough, so I had to do this and this to try to keep this other person. So now how can that show up when it gets integrated? Because all these aspects, the whole goal is integration. Well, that, my friends, is very, very passionate, close relationships where you're able to really kind of like speak your truth in your relationships and go through tons of like shadow work, which you already do, like, and you've already done regardless, but where you're able to really grow through lots of potentially traumatic experiences within the relationship, but where you're able to like really find your soulmate, right? Um, so yeah. What else can I say about that one? Venus Pluto. Yeah, more will come back. Or we'll come back to me later. But I just realized why my eyes are hurting. I need to turn my brightness. I don't know if it reflects on the screen share, but I need to turn FL.LUX on because it's my eye strain. 1 second. do this. Oh yeah, reduce head strain. It's better. So yeah, um, yeah. So integrated, like yeah, it's all about like soulmate energy, just like being one with your partner, and really really wanting to kind of like have this passion and this real loyalty and this real um, purpose in your relationships. So very important. And very important to know that, if you know this already, that because Venus is like, how you love yourself, and Pluto is a lot of darkness, that would create lots of problems there. So it can create shame. And what can happen all after that is that, because Venus also is the planet of, how you love yourself and how you love others, um, it can create issues with that, and make it so the person like, so the person almost like has this like self, not hatred, but like where they really like despise and like think about like things they've said or done, like fuck. But it's just like it's like you have this aspect, like you can read articles about it, you can go on Google search Pluto, Venus square Pluto, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's rough. It's really rough. Um, Now with the where's it at next to this? So yeah, and also just like the whole fact that like, um, you'll feel like shadow through your relationships, right? And like I said, a lot of times it's like in the past, but it can still come up. Um, so you'll feel like your shadow come up in relationships. You'll think that you might think it's like the partner, but really it is a reflection of your childhood. So when you deal with the childhood trauma, right, go down here, that's when the relationship stuff becomes sublime. So yeah. Mm, so good. Okay. Um, so yeah, like eighth house sun, when I talked about like those eras, I want to re-emphasize that even more and say that like eighth house sun people, it's like they look back at different versions of themselves and they don't even recognize them. They feel like they were literally like an actor that was playing that role. Um, it's good for things like inheritances, like I said, benefiting from other people's resources, marrying rich, or being in a type of career where you're able to like for example, like a financial. Yeah, I think I already said some of this stuff, but yeah, like I said, the occult, esoteric spirituality, huge part of your life, and a huge source of power and natural talent for you. Now, where do I want to go next with this? Let's just see. So yeah, like I said, definitely, with your Mercury in Aquarius, you'll be very, very unconventional in your ideas. This could be at odds with your moon in Virgo, which will be more like rational, step by step. Moon in Virgos also are very, very clean. They like to have things. They like to have a system, right? A system in their life that just works. Now, they can get very upset when that system is obstructive. So, yeah, they're very very. I love Virgo. It's one of my favorite signs. Like it's so dependable. It's so loyal. It's so pure, right? Um, but of course, like there's also the aspect of like being too hard on yourself and yeah, just learn to accept yourself for your your faults and your positive, aspects, and just know that no one can be perfect, and work on, make sure you work on that, and yeah, continuously understand that. So yeah, so major creative purpose. So finding a creative outlet is super important for you. honestly, like something like astrology or psychology would be very, very healing, and for yourself and for people around you to have a natural talent at it. Um, Now, the 11th house, Chiron there, you're going to be someone who could be like someone who like maybe like teaches like groups. I don't know, like the thought of like yoga came to my head. And by the way, like I've never looked at a single photo of you. I do this on purpose with all my clients. I will most definitely follow you after this. I don't follow you. I don't think I follow you, but I do that on purpose because I don't want to like see a photo and then get an idea. I like being surprised after I do the readings and I see, oh, that's what this person looks like, because it's very interesting, very interesting to not know and then find out after, like, damn. But yeah, you can be someone who has like maybe in past lives suffered some level of real pain, and I use the word trauma, but like, it doesn't have to be like such intense trauma, but like, yeah, some level of deep spiritual wounding associated with groups. Um, joining groups of like-minded people, which, we can speak about in follow up. I'm sure Manny's already spoken to you about that. Can be very, very healing for you, especially as an eighth house sun. It's like, um, you really want to feel at home with like-minded people, and um I might have something for you now. Aside that, with the Chiron there, it's yeah, it's like you can have a talent of like healing like large groups of people. Now, let's see here. So also you have, yeah, so yeah, finding the creative outlet is huge. Getting in touch with the inner child, because the Chiron is in Gemini, so this is very, very common with clients of mine to have either like Chiron Gemini or Chiron Leo. Is that like, with your Mercury, so I was talking about that, right? Like Mercury opposite Moon, um your Mercury, in 29 degrees Aquarius, 29 degrees is a critical degree. So I imagine that like your way of thinking and seeing the world, um, was at odds with like other people around you. You grew up in Brazil, so you obviously moved. I think so. Um, it can definitely like a lot, and it's very common, like that's something I've noticed about people with Pluto on their IC, is that even if they're not Sag moons like me, like they tend to move, they tend to like to want to get the fuck away, because what happens with astrocartography, which is the astrology of places, just a different reading I do, right? Where we go through the entire world, and we find your energetic hot spots and cold spots, and it kind of explains to you like how, like, different spots have different energies that are subjective to you, and just the general themes about each one. But yeah, people like that's like a really like rough line. So like you probably feel that heaviness, that kind of these crises, internal crises, when you go back to the area you were born, or around that area. And it might not be like right away since Pluto, but like when I go back to California, I was born in San Francisco, and mom lives there. I definitely do feel a certain heaviness, although like my mom's amazing and stuff, so it's like, and it takes like a few weeks to really set in, where I'm just like, yo, I'm done. I gotta get out of the US. So that's kind of that. Okay, so then Moon, so very nice energy to have. The Moon trining Neptune, trining Uranus. That's going to kind of add more like a connection with your emotions. And these very beautiful planets, like, so it's going to be very strong intuition, very open to like change in the future, and it'll make you, when you take risks, which eighth house sun is all about, taking risks towards your like inner transformation, and kind of like like the whole Rumi quote of like the fear of the fear is more powerful than the fear itself. Like just meditating or whatever it is to just take things head on, feeling the pain, whatever, right? That's massive. So yeah, that can create very, very strong energy, and you can attract lots of luck through like risks you take and change. Now Neptune, that's very, very, very beautiful for the imagination. And Neptune in the sixth house. So yeah, it can make someone very interested in the occult, as I said before, and it can make someone have like an emotional need to really create in a very artistic way. And with your Venus and Aquarius, I would imagine that if you are someone who's an artist or whatever kind of creator you are, that it would be a very unconventional, like different kind. But okay, I keep avoiding what I was talking about with the Mercury. So in Aquarius, Mercury likes to be it's very, very like very future oriented. It's very ahead of its time. It can be like kind of a genius energy, but because it's 29 degrees, it can almost feel like a retrograde planet. So that goes back to your Chiron and Gemini, right? Gemini rules. Chiron and Gemini has to do with like um, pain related to like speaking your mind and feeling like what you say doesn't have validity. And people who have that, like a lot of times it's like in their early childhood, maybe it's in their school environment around their parents, like they internalize the idea that I'm stupid, or like my way of thinking is flawed, therefore I shouldn't speak my mind. And yes, I have a second kombucha. I'm like a kombucha addict these days, which is pretty good addiction, I'd say. I'm not an addict kombucha. I just like them from everything. It's gonna be a little bit more extra energy, and it's good for your stomach. And I can sleep. I can drink like one right before sleep. It'd be fine. So yeah, like so yeah, really, really like with that energy, there's some real heaviness, and when it opposes the moon, it just makes someone who just, yeah, like I said, there's arguments, people don't really understand them, and they tend to kind of like be more shy after that and internalize a lot. Even if they're Leo rising, they can maybe be more of the observers as opposed to like the actors, because your ascendant is also opposite your Venus, um and what else is trying your Mars, and it's square Pluto, so your ascendant's also square Pluto, so there you go. That says it all, right? That that whatever that trauma is, it's made it difficult for you to really unleash that Leo risingness, that you have to really probably work hard on allowing that inner lion, passionate, like Leo rising people are meant to shine, and you're meant to shine in this life, but they can feel very unworthy. You feel very unworthy with that Pluto, and yeah, there can be just like this theme of like of yeah of power and powerlessness that goes back and forth. Um, so also with the Black Moon Lilith, which I want to talk about really quickly, and I'll go back to kind of what I was saying before, in the 12th house in Cancer, um, it can create lots of secret enemies, um, and also self manipulation in your own subconscious mind by different assumptions you might make, right? So, yeah, so like that's kind of like self-deprecating or self-sabotaging kind of energy. And having Cancer can make someone like prone to like using like their emotional intelligence and intuitive and spiritual intelligence in a bad way, in a way that's more based on yeah, like kind of like yeah, you like emotionally manipulative, playing victim a little bit. Um, once they get hurt, not being willing to like be vulnerable again. There can be like some like fake protection. Um, Also this like I care about you, like I did all this for you. Now you owe me this. Like that's but this isn't a plan. Like Black Lilith is like only a probability. It's like you at your lowest vibe. So you don't necessarily manifest it. It's not like a planetary point. It's a calculation based on the apogee of the moon. And also, yeah, like there can be like drama um and like self-sabotage again, right? In 12th house. And not letting go when you need to let go of people or places or things, experiences, whatever. So that's thought. Um so yeah, then you have no. Too far. So yeah, like I guess more about like yeah, the sun in Saturn, like I said like disappointments and obstacles, lots of things you have to overcome, feelings of inadequacy, like you can really really difficult for self-esteem. And with Uranus, it can make one, yeah, like I said earlier, like very rash, rebellious, erratic, nervous. And yeah, you have to watch out in relationships too for not like, because with all that Aquarius energy, you have to watch out for like it's just very important that you have communications around your need for space, and that you get you feel into your own body and you get that. And that's the dream relationship for you, is where you're not villainized and looked at as like, oh, like not liking your partner, because some days you just need to be alone. It's just the way it is. um but yeah, anyways, so yeah, ahead of your time with the Mercury, in terms of communication and thinking, and then just like kind of facing like lots of opposition, also like probably from the mother a little bit too, although the energy with the mother is quite nice, but maybe she might just not understand certain parts of your worldview. Maybe there's a little bit at odds energy there, but I wouldn't really like think so deeply into that one. I would say more just the fact that you might, because of your forward thinking and potentially controversial self, you might attract arguments and becoming like going back and forth between like being overly analytical and overly emotional and irrational, right? So it's like back and forth. Um, and yeah, so also you have to watch out for confusion, anxiety. What else? Confusion, anxiety, and even like addiction can show up here. And just having yeah, it's another indicator of anxiety. Um, so yeah, lots of people that have this are like very quiet when they're like in public, or just like in larger groups. Then when they're very very chatty when they're with the people they really trust. But yeah, it's the inner conflict between thoughts and feelings. So about connecting your throat chakra to your heart chakra is very important. Um, so you do. Let's see. You lack. Is there any? You have Earth. So you have Mars and Taurus on your midheaven. That's really really good for money and for career. So like that's like an amazing placement in that respect. So you have Earth, fire, water, and air. So you have every element. So you're good. Um, but yeah, what can happen with that aspect is like your perception of reality can be very distorted, and decision making and judgment can be difficult. Um, So yeah. So like having like a person you trust close to you who's very grounded and who doesn't have this is it can be very, very helpful. So yeah, it's all about like really learning diplomacy and like kind of like understanding other people's perspectives and blending your intuitive insights with your analytical intellect, right? So that's really, really important. And also like keeping busy uh helps with this one. So yeah. And it's an unaspected Mercury. Oh shit, that's crazy. So that paints a whole photo of like, you know, when I said shy, I don't think you probably weren't very shy when you were younger. And now that I see it's unaspected, that pushes that shy energy away. But what happened is that probably you you were very, very like out there with some of the things you said and the ways you thought. And maybe there's bullying or maybe there's just some negative energy that really, and you being so sensitive, that really made you believe, because like when you have your son in the eighth house, like you can really like cling on to like, other people's thoughts, and not really thoughts, it's more Mercury, but like just their energy in general. So like you can start to kind of believe what other people believe about you. So that can be difficult. Um, 1 second. So so yeah, Mars, as I was saying, in Taurus, that's a very nice and stable part of your chart. I believe Mandy had some Taurus energy, if I remember correctly. She was like a Taurus or something like that. No, completely. Yeah, her Venus is 18 Taurus. So I remembered something. So yeah, you guys have like a Mars Venus conjunction that's quite nice, quite nice. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna get into the synastry. Like, if you want to like really find out about that, I would highly, like I said, suggest doing that reading. But like if it was between synastry and current astrology, it just depends on what you like. What's going on in the relationship. I would probably choose the synastry or compatibility. Although like both can be very, very important. And if you're interested, I can definitely. And those ones are like there's not a 2 month wait. It's like we schedule it for like as soon as I have time, which isn't like my schedule is pretty clear in the next 2 weeks, and I basically just like blank out an entire day. The compatibility one, that one would go on the list, but I would raise it on the list because, um, especially if other readings are purchased with it, just because I love doing those and I don't get as many. I get probably 90% nail readings. I get a lot of nail readings. Well, 90% in terms of like my readings, not counting follow-ups or current astrology. Yeah, so whenever I get like astrocartography or compatibility or anything, I just really want to do it. I was gonna say. Okay, so yeah, Mars and Taurus, they like it's basically just like very career oriented energy. You want money. I mean, let's not lie. You want money, and you're gonna get it. And your moon obviously is emotional need for that. So like I said before, not attaching, like learning to kind of pivot from not being too obsessed with the material, and being okay, because there will be fluctuations in that. But because you're such a go-getter with this energy, um, someone who fights back, bounces back from adversity, um, that it's going to give you like you'll have a very reliable course of success, right? um you just kind of keep going, keep going, keep going. And midheaven Taurus, I have that as well. So right now you're having Uranus on your okay, that's another thing with the current astrology reading that we'd have to talk about if you do get that reading, is that you have Uranus on your Mars. So like really shaking you up and pushing you towards like, change, liberation, and just lots of things. It's a very intense one. Very volcanic. Definitely need to get to the gym and sweat the energy out. But also you can expect major changes to your career. Very like sudden, like kind of like, whoa, holy shit. Like me, mine's 23 years is 19, so yours is even closer. And I think it's like what, like 16 right now, Uranus. And like mine, like for me, it's like I've just seen this like massive. I don't want to say it came from nowhere, but just like my success level with astrology, it's like almost like it just started really working way better. Of course, I did lots of things to make that happen, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Oh my god, my cat's really knocked over my kombucha. They're going so crazy. Um, so then, okay, let's see here. So retrograde Pluto. Um, so yeah, not much retrograde. You're just like me. You have only one. So yeah, that goes back to like the great desire for control. It can be like deeply kept secrets, especially from childhood. Some people have this like sometimes they just don't trust anyone, and there's like this paranoia and suspicion, and really get seen through people's BS, and yeah, it's like going through this constant transformation of the self, and yeah, kind of like a very resilient energy. And at the lower level, it's like using sexuality as a weapon, and also it's very good for psychic abilities. So yeah. With that aside, so yeah, so like kind of with love overall, Moon Virgo, you're gonna want someone who is consistent, loyal, who you can depend on no matter what, who you can share all your kind of darkest secrets with, or just like who someone who's just chill. You don't like to have like that combative energy, right? Of course, the big thing is like the space, but really, just having that like that real ease, right? That real ease, that natural ease in relationships. And with the seventh house. And just like, yeah, that the intellectual connection is very important too. As I said before, your Mercury is also in the seventh house. So you'll like to like engage in, these kind of future oriented, very, selective kind of out of the box thinking topics with a girlfriend who also, yeah, I know you're straight, so yeah, girlfriend who also things like that. Um, so Mars, yeah, I was gonna say about Mercury that's unaspected. So, um, yeah, like you talked a lot, probably when you're younger, lots of ideas, and then kind of got shut down, which then leads you now to like refining your voice, reclaiming your authentic voice. And the Sun Moon opposition does not make it any easier. So yeah. All right, let's kind of finish up here because I've been going for a while. I'm trying to keep these under an hour, and of course I'm already an hour 15ish. Um, not under an hour, but like around. I'm trying to like getting closer to an hour, even though I just have never been able to do that. Okay, we talked about all this. Talked about all this. Mars is opposite Pluto. Damn. So yeah, basically there, you're looking at an energy that is extremely volcanic. You're basically like when you have Pluto on the IC, you have to conquer your childhood traumas in order to fully actualize your potential for your career. I have that too. I know it very well. So like if it's having like a difficult, like fucking annoying emotional conversation with, someone in your family, might be a male, but there might be like a lot of like, I don't like to use the word toxic masculinity because I feel like it's just used in a weird way these days. But where it might be like awkward to talk about emotions, like it's about your healing. It needs to happen. Now, with Mars opposite Pluto, Mars on the midheaven, Pluto on the IC, it creates this kind of volcanic energy in your chart, right? Where it's like on one hand, there's this real intensity coming from the childhood, but then there's also this major steady drive towards success, and they clash because it can make someone very, very powerful, almost to a detriment. And you have to watch out for stepping over people, and just in general, just kind of having a very combative nature, right? And with your Neptune in the sixth house, I really mentioned this, you'll hate to have bosses. You'll hate it unless they're the most chill people ever. You're really gonna want to you're not gonna like to have a normal daily routine. You like to have your own routine. So usually, I see that in people who would prefer to have a career that they create their hours. They can take a week off if they want to, right? They're not under any pressure from anyone. It's all in their own hands. And that's also back to what your North Node's saying. Your North Node ninth house is asking you to be an entrepreneur. With Jupiter there, you're really being asked to be a leader, to step in a leadership role, and also to find a higher philosophy, to really go out in the world, whether it's through traveling, which I've seen you've done, and find and just create traveling physically, different countries, talking to people from different cultures, or metaphorically through things like astrology, through things like being very open-minded to different philosophies and ways of thinking, and then combining them and creating that universal truth, and then using that universal truth to in your career and in your dharma. This is dharma, right? It's not just career, it's dharma. So yeah, it's very important to know that, right? Also with Mars and Pluto, there can be a obsessive, yeah, there can be kind of an obsessive part of you potentially. So you got to watch out for that. Workaholism, I talked about that already. So yeah, Vertex 8th, your doorway to higher awareness is through these kind of dramatic, Plutonian kind of death, rebirth, transformation events that will probably happen in relationships, and being open to feeling that oneness, and really, really being potentially being of service, right? Virgo moons, they also have an emotional need to kind of help out, right? They want to be of service, they want to help people. So that's very powerful too, and very, very healing for your chart and for your own issues down here. Jupiter in the ninth, that's really, really good for travels. You'll benefit a lot from your travels and from higher education, and from just learning in general, and being a teacher, stuff like that. It's very, very good, and it's giving lots of assertive energy, and it trines your ascendant. So that'll give you lots of luck in terms of just in general, and especially when you travel. All right. So before we wrap up, let's see what else I see, if I see anything with outers. And yeah, I think I like doing these more where I don't really show my face as much. During the Zoom, you see my face a lot, but actually I do share some stuff, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm able to really tap in deep. Okay. So shit. That's far. Does she have anything at 12 degrees? Gemini, Mandy, I'm just curious. Yeah. Oh my God. Holy shit. You saw that. I swear to God on my mom that I did not know her ascendant was 12 degrees Gemini. That's fucking crazy. And her south node. Yo. So that's a big thing in synastry. I'm kind of giving you a few synastry things. That your sun moon midpoint, if it lands on someone else's ascendant, moon, midheaven, Venus, Jupiter, whatever, that is a really, really good indicator of relationship success. I wrote about, look at my post today, literally look at my post, you'll see it. And your sun moon midpoint lands right on her ascendant and south node. So that's fucking gorgeous. Beauty. I love it. Astrology's so beautiful. Okay. So you avoided alcohol. Is that sorry, I don't know why I had that one in there. I don't really look at it. Okay. So you avoid alcohol with your MC. The Hecate? No, that's what's it called. Sappho. So Sappho on your Jupiter, what would that do? So harmony, aesthetic appreciation, desire, and poetic. I usually just use that more for like for synastry. But yeah, there's an association with money. And there's research around market movement. So yeah, it could be another very good indicator for money and for luck with money. So yeah. Also spiritual or emotional fortunes. And then your sun, and that is Markab, am I correct? Yes. So let me get my face back on this bitch. My eyes got red. I'm scratching them. Okay. So Markab, that one isn't like the best. Remarkable job. But it really depends on like what it's hitting your sun. So it's very good for energy, but it can lead to some kind of some issues. Like you just have to really like make sure that you're honored in your ambition, right? Because it can give honors, riches, fortunes, dangers, fevers, cuts, blows, stabs. Okay, all this shit's all fucking outdated. It's Mars and Mercury, so it can be high enterprise, combative, and destructive. So it's like you have to watch out for dangerous situations. It's with your sun, so that's better. So yes, cats also like that. So yeah, they're malefics. So yeah, you gotta watch out, honestly, because like 22 is like you have some dangerous things in your chart. Some people look at 22-degree planets like that's like the kill or be killed. It's not like that, you know. Especially in 8th house where like you're really trying to but there can definitely be some like kind of controversial energy, like you gotta really like ground yourself and whatnot, and not put yourself in risky situations. But yeah, it's more of a dark star. Even though it can give wealth. Let's see. Yeah, using like the sale of knowledge in a good way. I'm looking for more information. For age and loss of emotional control and intelligence, selfish energy arises to the surface after being amplified recently. A step back is needed in social and business affairs. I keep seeing that come up for you. Proceed with a personality check and a grounding of who you are in the world. So really important that you're like have integrity with what you're doing. So yeah. So aside from that, not too much else. Lust is close enough to your Venus so that, speaks for itself. High sexual drive, potential seduction, like potential like a seductive energy to you. Who knows? Say it's more like in female charts, but I don't fucking know. And then yeah, let's see anything with. Okay, we got one over here. Nessus. Nessus, huh? So let's see here. Let's see here. Hold on. A lot of these, I learn like a lot of these like fixed stars. There's so many of them. Like I like to learn them like um on the spot. But so Nessus is a difficult one. Oh yeah, I remember this one now. So that one refers to abuse. So um yeah, it's associated with abuse. It's on your moon. So, it could have been from your mother. It can be verbal, physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual, sexual. Um, Also, it can make someone the abuser if they don't fix things up. And they can like do things like treat others similar in the same way to how their abuser treated them, surround themselves with people who treat them the way their abuser did, or treat themselves as their abuser treated them. So like addictions and stuff, you have to watch out for that. So yeah, abuse. Let's see if there's any. Okay, here it is. So Nessus Moon. Let's see. I've seen several examples of this, including blah 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 blah. Neptune's square moon was the most potent, and there we have someone who was really emotionally neglected and abused in her childhood, causing a lot of difficulties as an adult. Gaslighting was present in childhood. As an adult, they had difficulties in interpersonal relationships by both reproducing the pattern to some extent, choosing people who reproduce the pattern and believing they deserve being treated this way. This person was embodying to some degree all of the three options we detailed above. The person with Nessa's trend. Okay, no. So, okay, so I've also met a man with Nessa's conjunct moon. That's you. As much as I do know of any, as I do not know of any abuse in their childhood, which does not mean it wasn't present. They do describe their childhood as very loving. They were particularly abusive emotionally. So yeah, it's a tough one. It kind of fits with that Pluto I see. And then finally, there's more, wasn't there? Oh no, your Jupiter isn't even conjunct Sappho. I mean, it is. It's 8 degree. It's kind of further away. Cool. All right, that's it, my friend. I hope you enjoyed. I would longer than I want to. I guess 133 is kind of average for me, but yeah. Watch as many times as you want. Take notes, and let me know when you're ready for the follow up. And let me know about the current astrology, and if you want to do a compatibility reading, I highly recommend both or one. All right, talk to you later, man. Ciao, ciao, ciao. You hear my voice? All right, bye.